Man, I just love the sound of that drag on that reel. Just
Hopefully,
gets you going every time.
hopefully that's what a lake trout sounds like on the other end of the line.
Well, hopefully we find out this weekend.
That's right.
Welcome to episode number 8 of the Midwest Angler Podcast. I am Matt Deitch, alongside Scott Sermon as always. And like you heard us say right there, we're heading to the Black Hills this weekend.
I'm ready. I'm
I,
ready to go.
I think everybody's ready. It's going to be you, myself, Ramsey, and your brother Eric. It's
Yep.
going to be a good time.
Yep. Got the cabin booked. I don't even know if it's a mile from Pactola, so perfect.
If we have to, we can walk there.
Yep.
Not going to happen, but we could if we had to.
We could make Ramsey walk there.
Uh, we might.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're getting ready for this trip here, and this week is going pretty long. It seems like, even
Yeah.
though it's kind of going fast too.
Yeah, weeks when you have trips on the weekends, oh, they always go so slow.
And it's always just something to look forward to when you got that trip, when you're planning for it and everything. That's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight, is just getting planned for a trip, how we're planning for this Black Hills trip, because it's a place that we've never fished before. None of us have ever.
Totally different style of fishing.
Well, I know I know, one of our big target species that we're going to be after is lake trout. And I've been talking to some people about it, saying, yeah, we're going to be trying for some lake trout this weekend. And right away, they all kind of go to how they've seen them fish them on TV, like up in Canada.
Yep, Fort Peck, Montana.
Yep, up,
Totally different
northern
areas.
Minnesota. And, people have asked, you got the tube jigs, the big tubes all tied up and ready to go. And it's just like, it's really not like that out there.
Yeah, yeah. For as far as baits, I know like I'm gonna have one rod with a clam leech flutter spoon on it, and then from Cold Snap Outdoors, Craig Euler out there in the Black Hills, and Scott Brower, Mackey Plastics, came up with the Craggy, and I think it's supposed to kind of mimic a shrimp, and yeah, it's about 1.5 inches long, I would say, and going to put that on some big jigs, bigger than what I throw in the river here in the spring,
Yeah.
on the end of an ice line.
Kind of some open water. That's why I had to go into my jig box the other night and take all my open water stuff and kind of make a ice fishing makeshift jig box for that too.
And even the line, I put 15-pound braid with a 10-pound floral leader on. That's way heavier than what I use for anything in the summertime, and
Oh
that
yeah.
just totally different style of fishing. Deep water, Me and Eric were looking at Navionics of Pactola, and 90 foot is not uncommon there, and I've never fished over 30 foot around here ever.
I don't think I have either. So hopefully we can kind of get out there and find them there. I think our plan, we're still kind of coming up with our plan, what we're going to do. We're leaving early Friday morning, and if we're gonna go to Pactola right away and kind of do a full send on it and try to get a lake trout right off the bat, or
Well, I kind of, I was thinking Deerfield, Sheridan, try for perch. And then it was like, well, geez, do we want to leave on Sunday and think, man, I wish I would have tried harder for lake trout? If that's what all of our goals is for each of us to land a lake trout, I'd hate for one of us or two of us or all of us to not get that chance because we didn't spend enough time on Pactola. And I think Deerfield has lake trout too. I don't think that they're as big, but I know Sheridan and Deerfield both have good perch. Northern out there, we could kind of we could probably find fish to eat on Pactola too, but
yeah. We're gonna kind of target some rainbow trout as well. It's just kind of fun to be going out somewhere where it is a totally different species that you're targeting than what we're used to around here. And just, I think one of the things we're all looking forward to is the scenery out there, fishing up in the hills like that, and all the trees around here. It's usually pretty flat, or houses around the lake, or
yep, just the smell.
Yeah.
Oh, the pine trees out there just do it for me.
yeah, definitely. So talking about getting prepared for a trip, like, what are some things you've been doing, Scott, to get prepared for this trip?
Obviously, on this trip, like we said, stringing up different line on different rods. I didn't have a medium heavy rod, so I went and bought a 13 Wicked Ice combo for that. Obviously, get the Vexilars charged up, go through the tackle boxes, and make sure that everything's neat and prepared. And, I start setting stuff aside a few days before, this stuff over here, that stuff over there, make sure I don't forget anything. And I like to bring more than what I'll ever need,
Have you caught yourself preparing for this trip almost overpacking for
Definitely,
it?
definitely. And
I
I
kind of had to
always
catch
do.
myself like, we're only going to be out, we're only going to be fishing for a day and a half.
Yep.
So it's like, man, but then you get in your head like, well, what if, I might need this. Well, but
I always think of our buddy Chris Krull. It seems like whenever we would go on trips anywhere, all of a sudden there'd be that situation, and it's like, man, who's got zip ties, or who's got a tow strap, or who's got a rope? Bam, Chris always had a big Rubbermaid container, and
yeah,
whoop, there it comes.
Well,
And
those things are always smart to pack when you're going on a trip like that.
definitely, just small odds and ends that.
I'm just talking like your fishing stuff.
Oh yeah, well,
It's just like how many rods? It's like, well, man, I'd like to have that rod along. Well, what are the chances of us fishing this? What, like, packing a rod, like, okay, if we're going to be targeting perch, you want kind of a light action rod. Well, if we're going to be going after bluegills possibly, how do I want my ultralight along too? Well, then I'm going to have a couple rods rigged up for late, and then pretty soon you're taking up a lot of room in your, in your rod case. So you're like, oh, well, maybe what is a multi-purpose things can I use? Like, well, I can use my light rod
yeah,
for bluegills as well as perch.
when I go over to Okoboji, I normally bring 3 or 4 ultralight rods. On a trip like this, I'll probably bring 2. I'll bring a medium action rod, and then I'll bring my new medium heavy. And
Yep.
even that medium action rod, I had an extra reel that was just sitting on the shelf. So I'm going to rig that up with some bigger braid. That way I can have a leech flutter spoon on one and have a Craigie on the other, and kind of bounce back and forth without totally ripping off and
Well, yeah, so you don't have to stop and retie and do all that stuff. That's always a good idea, is to have a couple rods rigged up with different things so that if you do want to change baits, you don't spend all that time cutting line, retying, doing all that stuff.
And with different colors and whatnot, you just never know what they're going to be after that
Yep.
day. One thing that I did see, not to get off subject, but when you're fishing that deeper water, I was watching a YouTube video yesterday, and he said start by dropping all the way down to the bottom and jig like that for about 2 minutes. If you don't have any action, reel it up about 10 feet, jig like that for 2 minutes, reel it up another 10 feet, jig like that, all the way up to the top, and then drop it all the way back down. Because especially those lake trout, or any of those trout, they can be really suspended
Yeah,
up in
I've
the
seen
water
that
column
too.
and not be on the bottom like what we're used to fishing.
Yeah, yeah, they could, yeah, like you said, you could be in 80 foot of water and they could be up at 20 foot or even up to 10 foot, 6 foot even.
Yep.
So yeah, and getting into this, preparing for the trip, I mean, you gotta think about like what you're bringing along. Okay, we got drills that we're bringing along for our augers, so you want to pack your chargers
Yep.
because you don't want to get out there that first night and run them dead. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I forgot my charger at home.
Yep. And I've got DeWalt. You and Eric have got Milwaukee.
Yep. So I mean, that's always important to have those chargers along. Bring in your Vexilar charger along. If you plan on cleaning fish, the fillet knife, and if it's an electric knife, I have the rechargeable one of theirs, so bring the charger along. Your cell phone chargers, all of that. Sometimes those things will get overlooked
Yep.
at times.
I'm going to bring along an extra Vexilar just in case
Yeah, one's not run right.
something happens to go wrong. I don't think any of us feel like running into Rapid and dropping another $300 at another Vexilar, so I'll bring another one of those along. Me and Eric had actually talked today, running through the scenario. What happens if you hook a big fish and it's a ways down there and your line happens to get caught on the ice or something and you lose 80 yards of line?
Yeah, it's always good to have maybe an extra spool of line along.
Yep. I just wild scenarios, and
Well,
wild things can happen.
And that's the thing about it. And we talk about bringing a spare auger along. We're going to have a couple of them along, 2 or 3 along. It's always good to do that when you're going on a trip because you don't want to go all that ways and you get there and something happens. I was on the other day online. Theo Tolliver from Fish Addictions, they're up in Lake Winnipeg right now, and he posted a picture on there of the inside of a auger head, and the gears were just trashed.
I saw that.
mean,
I saw that.
It went, but like he said, it was just a freak thing that happened. It wasn't like because it was a certain brand or anything like that. They had a spare, which you always are going to do. I mean, you're going that far, and if you don't have a spare, you got to be prepared.
Yep. Yep. And that's, we're lucky with four of us. We've all got some extra gear.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong between the four of us, we can put something together.
And I think one thing too is when you're preparing for a trip like this, it's always good. We were just talking a little bit ago about what the forecast is going to be out there. Always kind of trying to look ahead to see what the forecast might be. I mean, obviously we can tell that they can't always get the forecast right the last couple days here, but it's good to look out there and see, okay, as far as preparing for clothes, you know, if it's going to be cold, like how cold it's going to be. Are you going to be able to run and gun? Are you going to have to kind of set up camp and set up the houses?
One with a mountain climate like they have, snow can come in bunches fast.
Yeah, it can. It could say, well, there's a chance for snow. And yeah, like you said, I mean, heck, we were out there last summer. What was it, June? We were four-wheeling and we were camping, and it got down to like 42 degrees at night.
Tent camping up kind of by Deerfield Lake, and yeah, it started raining, 40 degrees. None of us were prepared for that.
I think we all had every piece of clothing on that we could, and we were, luckily, was it Dan that brought some extra blankets along?
Somebody brought some extra blankets, and I had a sleeping bag that was supposed to be good. They said down to 20 or something like that. I can tell you, it was not.
No, I think we all kind of cocooned into our sleeping bags, and
that was bad.
I think Eric slept in the ATV trailer.
Yep.
So yeah, you got to be prepared when you're going up into climates like that. Another thing I like to maybe bring along at times is a boot dryer.
Definitely.
You know, you never know when your feet get wet just from sweating inside your boots.
Yep.
And then
if there's a lot of slush and whatnot on top of the ice, that can be bad too.
Yeah. So I mean, preparing for this, that's kind of like the things we've been going. Obviously, we've been in contact with each other about who's bringing, like, as far as food goes. Like, oh yeah, I can grab this. I'll grab this. I'm bringing this along.
I got the shore lunch.
You got the shore lunch. That just means we have to provide the fish.
Yep. In case we happen to get skunked, I know Eric is going to bring along some pork chops. There's always that chance.
That's right. And there's always like restaurants and stuff like that.
Definitely.
If we need to go in and have a steak or anything like that.
Yeah, put it on Ramsey's tab and get out of there.
Him and his rubber credit card, that thing will bounce.
No.
So yeah, you know, getting prepared. You know, I think that we're all pretty excited about this. It's kind of cool. I was thinking about this today. Most people around here, when they're preparing for an ice fishing trip, they're heading north. You know, and we're preparing to head west.
Yep, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it just kind of dawned on me. You know, all these guys we're heading up to Red Lake, Lake of the Woods. You know, up to North Dakota to Devil's Lake, maybe to northeastern South Dakota, or up to Lake Winnipeg, up into Canada. You don't hear many guys saying, "Yeah, we're getting prepared to go out to the Black Hills and go fishing."
Right. I think the Black Hills is just really an overlooked fishery. Not that I've ever fished it, so I don't truly know. But when we were at the Ice Institute earlier this year, we went to that seminar that Craig Euler put on, and he was talking about how on a busy day out on Pactola, you maybe see 10 other shacks.
Yeah, that was crazy for us.
Just mind-blowing, you know, after you go to Miller's Bay or up on Lake Poncet and see the big pack of people up there, just 10 other shacks on a whole entire lake. If that was Okoboji, we'd be like, wow, this place is dead.
Yeah, there ain't nothing biting here today.
Nope.
So yeah, that's kind of a neat thing to look forward to. Got let's see, what else were we talking about out there? Oh, we're talking as far as weather goes, different ice conditions.
Yep.
Again, you're heading up north. You're talking about getting extensions for the augers. This time of year, you know, Pactola, really didn't freeze over up until a couple weeks ago.
If there's a lot of snow, Pactola might be.
It might be iffy to go out.
No,
There, might be
yep.
able to fish it.
Yep, we might have to head to Deerfield or head to Sheridan and do something different. Maybe head up into Custer State Park and fish Stockade or Center or something like that. But yeah, there's an outside chance that with enough snow, Pactola
Yeah,
will be
you're-
a no-go.
You're talking early ice conditions, so you're there again. You're talking about ice picks,
Definitely.
spud bar,
Definitely.
things like that.
I know Eric just bought a set of ice picks. I was planning on getting some sort of rope, just
Yep.
in case to bring along. The safety equipment that we would use here late December is the same stuff that we're going to be using out there now at the beginning or end of January, beginning of February.
And that's why it's so important to stop in at the local bait shops out there, talk to guys that you know from out there, and find out what the current ice conditions are. Because again, no ice is ever safe.
Nope, and especially out there.
Yeah,
It kind of freaks me out thinking about sitting on potentially 4 inches of ice, knowing that it's 90 foot deep there. You drop into the bottom of that, no one's going to find you for a while.
yeah. Usually we don't on Okoboji. We never go out to that 90 foot of water.
I've
so,
never been there.
just across it in the boat.
Yep.
So, what are some other things that, like your goals for this trip? We kind of set goals for trips sometimes. You obviously said, catching a lake trout.
Yeah, I definitely catching a lake trout would be the absolute. But really, truly, if we each caught a couple rainbows, took some nice pictures with some rainbows. I've never caught a trout, especially through the ice.
Yeah.
I just think that would be cool. At the end of the day, we could probably go out there and not catch a dang fish, but just the fact that we're in the Black Hills, we're out there. Suppers are going to be fun. At night after the fishing, four of us guys all joking around. It's going to be fun. What
Yeah,
are yours?
Just, getting on those adventures. And we've talked about that many times before about it's all about the adventure. The fish are the bonus. And I think when you're going out there, I mean, yeah, you want to catch fish.
Yep.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If we were driving up to Canada, up to like one of those lakes, going after big trophy walleyes, and you really didn't catch one, you're a little disappointed coming back. I mean,
Definitely.
just being honest. Going out there, being the first time we've ever fished lake trout. Hopefully, the learning curve isn't too bad, and we can figure it out in a hurry.
Right. I won't come back super disappointed if we didn't catch a lake trout. I would probably think, well, next time. If we didn't catch a fish, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah.
I'd like to at least catch a trout. And
I think the only way I'd be disappointed in this trip is if Ramsey caught a lake trout and none of us did.
I sent out that text message today. If Ramsey catches the biggest fish, we'll leave him in Rapid.
Yep. So he might need
That's
a
a
ride
promise.
back.
That's
Might
a
need a
promise.
ride back. Anybody that's watching this right now on Sunday, this Sunday, what is that, the 27th?
7th? Yeah, 27th.
Dusty Ramsey might need an Uber ride back over this way.
I'm not going to put out an advertisement to give him a ride back. He's stuck there. He can do it from there.
He might as well enroll at Black Hill State.
They'll
We
like
say
him.
that because he's sitting over here behind the camera. We should have him come back over here and
Yeah,
say hi. Maybe get a few words from him.
getting all that stank on my couch.
Maybe we should. Ramsey, come here. This is the infamous Dusty Ramsey that everybody's always hearing about.
Take a seat here. Take a seat here. You go with Matt.
That we like to razz sometimes. We figured we better get him on here. And since he's going on this trip with us, we're going to ask him a little question. Dusty, what are some of your goals for this trip here?
Well, Matt, some of my goals, I've talked to you guys before. The biggest thing is going and fishing in a new place. For me, this is my second year ever ice fishing, so going to a place where not only am I the one with the learning curve, but all of us guys and all of us guys learning together would probably be the biggest thing for me. The second biggest thing would probably be catching a trout in general. One year I went down to Arkansas and caught some rainbows in a stocked river, but I think catching something like that through the ice with some of you guys would be probably my second biggest goal going down there.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to it. I mean, I hope you are. I think this is our second trip, like long trip that we went. We went to Ponset last year and everything like that. You got excited. Hopefully, some of us are screaming like you did when you caught that first jumbo last year. But believe me, if one of us catches a big lake trout, they're gonna hear it out there in the Black Hills.
Oh yeah,
People are gonna be wondering what that noise is.
I know. Coming from me, there's not gonna be a lot of people out there, so you might hear some hollering for me if that happens.
Now, if we use live bait, what type of minnows do you want to use? For people that don't know, we were sending out a group text message like you always do. And today, everybody's getting prepared for the trip. And we were talking about setting up some tip-ups for northerns when we're out there. And we were just kind of like, well, is there any special regulations on any of the lakes out there as far as bait? Because some of the places you go to, that's another good thing. Check the local regulations out there when you go on a trip. You don't want to get up there and all of a sudden you look at what the regulations are and it's illegal to do what you planned on doing.
Right.
Some places don't allow live minnows in the lakes. So we were all texting and we're just like, well, what are we going to use for bait on those tip-ups? And I said, well, maybe we can use some frozen sucker or frozen chubs and stuff like that. And Dusty replied back with, what kind of bread? And we were like, what? And I said, I don't know. What, is wheat illegal in the Black Hills? Did Black Hills turn gluten-free or what? So just had to razz him a little bit about that.
Yeah, I catch a lot of crap from these guys, but it's all in good fun. I give it back to them, and they make sure I know when I mess up. They make sure I know when I'm doing something right, and it's all just all a good time.
All good fun. All right, Ramsey. There was your introduction to the world. Now we're going to get all kinds of fans, likes on our Facebook page, on our website, themidwestangler.com. Now we're going to be even more people listening on SoundCloud and iTunes, following our Instagram page with all the pictures. You've seen his picture on Instagram. Now you've seen him live in video. And yes, ladies, he is single. It's easy to believe. It's easy to believe now, isn't it?
No.
So we're looking forward to it. I know Friday morning, 5 o'clock, I'm sure all of us will have been up for an hour already, just anticipating going. We'll probably get everything loaded up on Thursday night, so all we have to do is get up. We'll brush our teeth in the morning. Who knows if Ramsey will?
Probably not.
And then we'll get going.
No. Did you come up with a question?
Yeah. One of our first episodes, we did kind of a hidden question from each other. We were going to ask each other a question. Neither of us knows what the question is. This will be the first time we hear it. I guess I'll go first. I think last time you went first, so
Right. I'm ready.
this time I think I'm going to go first. It's not too bad. It's a pretty easy one. I think when you think about it, something will come to your mind right away. So when it comes down to fishing, ice fishing, open water fishing, just fishing in general, what is your number one pet peeve of seeing people out there doing things? I'll give you a little bit to think about that here. It's kind of just right off the top of our head.
I got one.
Kind of like do 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 do.
I would say the people that leave trash
trash, yes.
on the ice. And open water too, but obviously you don't see that as much. But there is nothing that pisses me off more than when you're walking out there and you see where somebody was the day before or a couple days before, and there's cigarette butts everywhere and just tons of plastic wrappers on the ice
Yeah.
that got froze down and whatnot. And I get it, it happens. You put something on the ice and it's got a plastic wrapper on it. You go to pick it up and half of it, sticks to the ice. Turn your heater over there and melt it for just a little while. Like it's not that tough, guys. And this is, the future of that fishery is in our hands. You're leaving propane bottles.
That's the thing I don't understand. Is like you go out there and people like they'll leave those 1 pound cylinders just lay out there on ice or a bunch of I mean, the things that you see that people leave behind, it's just like, where in your right mind do you think that? Oh, I'm just going to leave that.
It's got to be people at night. That's the only thing I can think of. Somebody stays for the evening bite. It gets dark. They either do it, maybe sometimes on accident. You pack up your stuff and look around. You don't see it. You forget that you left that bottle of pop or whatever. It happens. Mistakes happen. I'm not mad about a mistake, whatever. But like the 1 pound cylinders, the cigarette butts, whatever. I just can't believe that somebody consciously got up from their spot, started walking, knowing that there's other people around. You know, like when you see that stuff on Miller's Bay, you know if they walked off on a Saturday, somebody else saw that and like, hey, dude, what's going on here?
Your trash, or you're forgetting something.
Yeah.
You know, usually you give them the benefit of doubt, and you're like, oh, hey, you forgot something laying there, and then they kind of feel ashamed of it, and then you kind of shame them into going back and picking it up. I mean, we're all sportsmen here. I mean,
They should feel ashamed.
Exactly. What, as a sportsman, thinks that you need to do that? I mean, we're all here to protect the resource, to make it better, and then you're just going to leave your trash lay around like that?
Well, and especially if you're a homeowner on the lake and you've got pop bottles washing up on your front rocks and whatnot, that makes all of us look bad.
Exactly right.
You know, not just to the homeowners, but people that don't fish, people that enjoy the lake just by boating, whatever. It doesn't look good for any of us. And to go along with the trash, I seen some pictures on Facebook, people leaving fish out there.
Yeah, just if you're not going to keep them, release them right away. If you don't want to bring them home and clean them, release them. If anything, if you're going to keep that fish, then keep it. Take it with you.
Ask around. You know, if you kill a fish because the jig got too deep in the throat or whatever, and you hadn't planned on cleaning some fish, ask around. There's a lot of people that want fresh fish fillets.
Yeah, somebody's like, yeah, I'll take it. I mean, obviously, if that person, rather than just see you leave it or bring it home and throw it in the trash.
Yep, that would be my pet peeve. That really gets me revved up.
Well, it does, and it should for all of us. I mean, the way I look at it, I've had a few times before where I've seen people do that, and it's like, hey, why don't you pick that up?
Yep.
And they kind of like, ooh, it's like, okay, here's the scenario. You have your own house at your house. You own a home. I come over to your house, and I'm walking by, and I throw a bunch of bottles and a propane tank out on your front yard.
Yep.
Are you going to be?
Fly.
And then you come out and be like, hey, what is it? Oh, what? It's
Yep.
no big deal.
Yep.
So pick up your trash, people.
Yep. How about you? You got a pet peeve?
My pet peeve, besides, trash is definitely the big one. Another one of my pet peeves are, how do I want to say this, like big timers.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're too, like, oh, look how many fish I catch. I'm the best fisherman in the world, and I'm not going to ever, like, share information or help a person out.
What is, I don't want to talk bad about fishermen and people that hunt, because it's both of us. But what is it in the hunting and fishing community that makes it a big dick contest for everyone?
Oh, I know.
Like, I mean, you walk through the aisles of Shields or any bait shop, and I just feel like everyone's sizing you up. Like, it's like, oh.
Sometimes it's the people that are working there. Sometimes it's other customers.
I think we've all had that feeling, like, I'm not worthy of walking down the aisles of this bait shop because I don't have all.
Or even at like a landing, when you go to a landing, and I love talking to people at the landing.
Definitely.
I enjoy it.
Some of the coolest people I've ever met, some old guys at the landing that.
Yeah, they'll talk. You don't have to give them everything, but don't be like, if somebody comes up. See, I guess what I'm getting is like when somebody comes up and like asks you a question or how was the fishing and stuff like that, and it's just like the people that are always like, well, why don't you get out there and find out for yourself?
Is that what the problem is? Is it the secretness of it? Like,
oh, I think it is. I think a lot of people feel like if I tell you how I did, now you're going to tell 20 other people, and pretty soon everybody's going to be fishing here, and oh, my spot's ruined. Well, actually, you know what? It's not your spot because these are public lakes,
Right.
and that's just the way it goes. The bite's going to get out whether you tell people or not, because somebody's going to go over there,
Definitely.
catch it, and tell somebody else. And
Yep.
you know, we talked about last week as far as social media goes, and then you know you get on social media and people start talking about it as well.
Yep.
So I guess that would probably be one of my big pet peeves besides the trash part of it. Talk to the people at the landing, even if the questions are annoying, just still try to be kind to them, be
Right.
good to one
Right.
another, because
Yep.
we're all there because we love fishing.
Yep. Now, my question for you would be, if you could change one fishing regulation as far as limits and slots and whatnot, and obviously we'd have to keep this probably something down here in Iowa, what would you change?
In Iowa,
Well, I mean, I guess if
mine would be easy. Mine's easy. Which regulation would I like to see change? I'd like to see the Minnesota walleye limit go from 6 down to 4. And then, as tough it is as it is, extend the season.
okay,
I think, you know, Minnesota, they run from like the second weekend of May is opener, and then you can kind of, and then up till February 28th, and then it closes down. Now, I understand why it closes down, is because they want to protect those spawning fish,
yep,
you know, early in the spring. You know, I'm saying you know a lot again, but South Dakota is open year-round. Most of the lakes in Iowa are open year-round. There is no season on walleyes. Now, some lakes have slot limits. Some lakes have a season. The Iowa Great Lakes over here, they close down
yep.
and open back up in May.
I'm not sure if that isn't just more of a tourist deal.
Well, but that's part of the glamour too, with as far as the Minnesota walleye season goes, is the fact that, you know, it's walleye opener. It's a huge deal. You got the governor's walleye opener. They always go to a different spot every year, and it brings in big revenue for those towns. I get that. You know, I get the season. I would like to see them reduce like the number from 6 down to 4.
Yep. No, that's a good call. I don't
I
fish
think-
Minnesota enough to. I didn't even know what the limit on walleye was.
I think down here in Iowa, the thing I'd like to see changed. Sometimes I'd like to see the slot limit for walleyes on the Iowa Great Lakes change from, you know, instead of 17 to 22, change it to 18 or 19 to 23, 24.
Yep.
Most people, if they catch one over 24 inches, they're going to release it. I still think a good eating fish is walleye is anywhere from that 15-inch range up to 18, 19-inch range. Usually my rule of thumb is I never keep anything over 20 inches.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of people that are like that. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with keeping, you know, as long as you're doing it within the regulations.
Within the legal regulations.
I
Yep.
can't. I'm not going to sit there and say, "Oh, well, no." That's the regulations. You got every right to do that.
Yep.
So those would probably be my big things that I would like to see changed.
Yep. That's good.
I guess I could keep going with this stuff. I think it would be cool. I know, like, when you get to be like 65 years old, I think you can get you don't have to pay for as much for a license,
Yep. Yep.
which I think is good. Sometimes it'd be cool if they would like reduce it down a little bit. I think I want to say my grandpa, when he turned 85, he went to get a fishing license, and they're just like, no, you don't need to get one anymore
Really.
because you're over the age of like 85 or something like that. So it's like a really reduced license, or they don't. And Grandpa's like, oh, I'm glad it took until I was 85 years old.
Congratulations for making it this far. Free fishing for you.
Free fishing for life if you turn 85, because it might be 15 more years, or it might be 15 more minutes. Who knows? So don't know if that's like. I mean, if that's true, it's like, can't you reduce that down to like 70 or something like that? Congratulations. So, stay fishing. When you turn 85, you might be able to get a free fishing license.
Oh, that was good stuff right there.
He's pretty pumped about it, though.
No, you know what I would do, and I'm not a biologist, so maybe this is wrong, but I would, here in Iowa, our bluegill limit is 25. I would like to see it where you can keep 25 fish, but only 5 of them, for say, can be over 9 inches.
That's a good one.
I would really like to see that, really get those bigger fish, keep those bigger fish in the water, and then I think all the other fish in turn would get bigger. From what I understand, bluegills can either focus their energy into breeding or focus their energy into growing, and when there aren't any bigger fish, they focus all their energy into breeding and can kind of stunt the growth.
Yeah, if I was bluegill, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
I think any of us would argue with that one if I was a bluegill and it is between growing and breeding. Yeah, I'm choosing breeding all day long.
You are on one now. Oh, man.
We got that ball rolling.
Yep. You got any other good jokes to tell, or are you done for the night?
I might. It's been a long day. We got trip to prepare for. We've talked about that.
Yep.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. So hopefully next time we talk to you guys, we'll be able to talk to you about some big lake trout that we caught.
Hopefully.
Some rainbows.
Yeah, keep up on our Facebook page. I think I'll try to post some pictures, post some videos or whatnot, maybe while we're out there. If there's service where we're at, maybe try to do a Facebook Live if we're on a good bite.
Yeah.
Try to do something a little bit different, but we'll keep you updated if we're catching fish. And
keep checking out that website, the Midwest Angler Podcast, or themidwestangler.com.
themidwestangler.com.
Scott's got a couple great articles on there that he's wrote so far. Very informative. One was the first one was the
social media
the
and
social
fishing.
media and fishing, and the second one was ice fishing on a budget, getting into ice fishing for under $500.
I was really hoping that my wife didn't read that. Said she wasn't
you need to
"Well,
spend all this money.
Yeah, what are you doing? You only need $500. That's what you're preaching to everybody else. Well,
This is just
that's
getting
kind of
into
different.
it. This is
Yeah.
just getting
Yeah, this
into
is
it.
just
If you just
introduction.
want to test the waters,
Yep.
not get into it.
Yep. No, and that's what it was, just getting into it, being able to go out by yourself, solo, shacks, augers, poles, electronics, that, it's pretty simple. I hate to say that all I said was buy used, but I really think it's intimidating when you walk through a Shields or walk through a bait shop and you see an FLX 28, for $600-700, and you're like, what in the world, do I need that?
Well, and now too, not only that, with all the boat shows starting now, you walk into a boat show like, oh, I want to get into fishing, and you walk in there and you see $70,000-80,000 price tag on a boat.
Yeah,
and you're
no
just
thanks.
like, is this what
Just
it costs?
buy another house.
So there's nothing wrong with finding quality used stuff, and a lot of times you get really good used things because people are looking to upgrade.
Yep.
Got into it for a few years. This is something I really want to pursue. This, sonar offers more features than the one I have now, so I'm going to trade this, or I'm going to sell this one, get some money out of it. So
Yep.
my cost for a new one and an upgraded version is less.
Yep.
So yeah, so keep checking out the website. Check
Social
out
media and
Facebook,
like it,
Instagram.
share it, do
like it,
whatever you
share
want to
it,
do.
Drop it like it's hot.
Yep. See
all
you
that
next week.
stuff. Be safe.